ki khubor ka bate si TV rakhe ka Frank Yamaha khatn reus nam ya ga jing shakri ga jongka baden ais ngo bha sha baro kinong thi thuk thuk ringkat ka kabuk ser ban long kinong job ya santali gi laptop kani ka offer kan kot ha ka live hoteri unai lur 8000 ar pusau
Ka Kenhul Menteri Jangka Sorkar Jela Hakar Pesantren Unai Lur Ajar Pausau Mynjur ya ke jing terua ban Thied Jaka biang na kebentaban Shina Pynheh ki art liki kat ling sun ki bedan hapo kaniga Jela kata ya ke Shillong Airport balik ke Baljek Airport Ka Sorkar Jela klarai ru ban pan ki jing bet bedan kam na ke Directorate General of Civil Aviation hading ke kai pot sorjamen bakhadu ke Pynheh ki jingla ban Pynheh ya ke Shillong Airport na kebentaban hiar ki ling sun ki behe Hagi keran baik kelar pathai ke bor di melawai ke jingalang Kenhul Menteri Menteri rang ba ke jelau konrak kongkal sangma ule thu baga Kenhul Menteri kala ai jingmun ban penya syakmat ke jing Thied ya ke Jaka nak bentaban Shina Pynheh ke Shillong Airport ke beran hakashnong omroi Ripoi district bat kumju ru ke jing Thied Jaka nak bentaban Shina Pynheh ke Baljek Airport ru kala ya syakmat
Had a detailed presentation. It was not a formal item, but it was a presentation that was given by the Transport Department, which is basically for the expansion of the Shillong airport. As you are aware that we have been facing a large number of challenges and previous technical reports had made it quite difficult for us to actually go into the feasibility of expanding the airport. But after doing a study which was sanctioned by the state government last year to do a LIDAR survey of the entire area around the airport, about 20 square kilometers was studied. And this is of course being done with Airport Authority of India on board. We are happy to inform that we have been able to come out with few options where in the existing airport itself, we should be able to extend the runway, which would make it feasible for at least the Airbus A320 and the Boeing 737. 737 is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Boeing 737, which is about 180, 170 seater aircrafts. In layman's term, basically the Indigo flights and the SpiceJet flights that we normally take. So this particular study and this particular master plan and this implementation should allow us to make the landing of these aircrafts feasible in the existing airport that we have. Of course, there are certain more clearances that are required. Further discussions have to be done with Government of India, especially with DGCA and the Civil Aviation Ministry. So we are on the job. It is still at, you can say the process and the planning stage is still on. But the initial report that we have seen today from the Transport Department is very encouraging and very positive. And we are hopeful that we should be able to take this forward. But as I said that I will not jump the gun right now. We will only come out with a detailed press note and all the facts once we are able to clear all the clearances and meetings with the DGCA and the Civil Aviation Ministry. But since this was in the agenda and since we discussed this and since it's a positive news for all of us, I thought I would share this with you that after the meeting we had, we are quite hopeful that we should be able to extend the runway, and we're hopeful that if all the different aspects fall into place, we should be able to land the normal commercial flights, which is normally the A320 and the Boeing 737 in the existing airport. So those presentations were given to us. Yeah, so I don't want to say that we have to negotiate. I think that would not be a correct word. Yes, exactly. We need approvals. We need some kind of permissions from DGCA, because DGCA is the ultimate authority to give us the license to move forward. And hence, we could have certain issues. It would be wrong on my part to sit here and say that everything is now on track and we're ready to move forward. So what I'm trying to tell you is that we have done our part. Transport Department along with Airport Authority has now submitted this proposal or at least gone through this proposal and given us a feasibility. The next step now is to sit with DGCA and present this to DGCA. And we're hopeful that when this is presented to DGCA, if there are any issues to be taken up, we hope that those issues will be resolved. And that's the only reason why I've said that. So those will be as per the discussions. And as I said, it's too early for me to go into those details. But since DGCA is the authority, all I'm saying is that it's not correct on my part as a state government to say that we are on track. Everything is. The next step is with DGCA, and I'm hopeful that that meeting also will be positive. We are working very hard on this. But I think the bottom line at the end of the day is that we are seeing the roadmap in front of us. That is what is important. And we didn't have this roadmap before. We really didn't know how to move forward because the old studies were showing a very complicated challenge in front of us. But now this new study has brought out this new process and a new way forward. And now the next step will be to meet DGCA, and I'm hopeful that we'll be able to find a way forward. So those hills were part of the initial plan. If we had not cut those, then even the flights that are landing now would not have landed. So now when we cut those hills, it paved the way for us to bring the regional connectivity through Udan, the Q400 flights, the ATRs landing, and other aircrafts landing. If we had not cut those hills at that point in time, even those aircrafts would not have landed. But now we're looking at the bigger aircrafts and bigger challenge. So which means now we have to see right now. Please note, I'm not saying we have to cut any hills right now. Please, you have to quote me correctly. Right now, the way we had to do it earlier, before the Q400 and the ATRs landed, was at a larger scale. We had to clear the mountains. We were told that we'll have to clear bigger mountains for the bigger aircrafts to come in. That is not what's going to happen now, is what I'm telling you. Now we know that we only have to clean up, you can say, a bit of here and there, maybe some bits sticking out here and there. It's a very, very bare minimum, even lesser than what happened last 5 years back when we took the decision. We went ahead, which paved the way to bring in whatever 15,000 passengers flying every month into Shillong city today. Into the airport, I'm sorry. So that was paved the way. Now what we're going to do is very bare minimum. Now our focus is on the extension of the runway, clearing up a bit of hurdles here and there in terms of mountains, no major chopping, and therefore the cost is going to be drastically very, very, very low compared to what we had expected earlier.
Only concentrating here?
Absolutely not. In fact, the discussion of land acquisition for Baljek is also on. The land acquisition process, the identification by the revenue department, revenue branch of the DC office is already under process. They have done an initial report. The Airport Authority of India was not at that point satisfied with that report. So another detailed report is now being prepared. So both are going hand in hand, and we are keen that in both locations the flight should start. In fact, the work for the Baljek airport has started before. The process for this one, for the Umrah airport started, because in Umrah airport we were also looking at the option of a new location. But then that's when the government, we sat down when it said that, well, why don't we revisit this and see once more and invest a bit on technical reports, and maybe there could be an option that could come out where we may be able to actually bring in the larger aircrafts in the existing airport itself. So it was a chance we took, and we're happy that this particular step we took has given us an option. So we were happy with this, and we are working ahead and going ahead with Baljek also. In fact, in Baljek airport also, in advanced state, all the discussions are taking place at a very, very advanced stage.